Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the first meeting of the Cultural Arts Commission for the City of O'Fallon in 2026. I would like to call this meeting to order. We would begin with a roll call.
Mr. Brandt is excused. Mr. Doyle?
Present.
Mr. Fogarty?
Present.
Ms. Grewash is absent as of right now. Ms. Guayardo?
Present.
Ms. Latimer is excused. Ms. Patterson?
Present.
Mr. Smith?
Present.
Ms. Pirano?
Present.
Ms. Williams?
Present.
And Councilmember Taylor?
Present.
All right, thank you very much. At this time, if you would please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I hope everybody's had a moment to look over the agenda for the evening. If there are no comments or questions about the agenda, I would seek an approval.
Yep. Motion to approve. Second, Doyle.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion passes. And then I would seek an approval of the minutes as well, unless anyone has anything they wish to comment or question about those.
Motion to approve. Second, Doyle.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Move on to citizen comments. No citizen comments. All right. And then we will move on to our committee and department reports, beginning with the financial report.
Well, hello, everyone. In the packet, you have an updated budget for 2025 actual year to date, along with the proposed 2026 budget. The only thing that's changed on it is the OCVB had a meeting last Wednesday, and they decided to shift some of the money for the National Wiffle Ball Tournament that's going to happen in this year. And so instead of increasing the budget overall, they took $4,000 towards the wiffle ball, and they took it away from the sports tourism partnership program that we're still working on. Other than that, everything else is the same. The only thing I did want to mention is that some of the Theater Works information and project did not get encumbered in the 2025 budget. So we will be doing a mid-year once the bids come in to roll that money over along with whatever the bids come in at, if we need more money, or we'll discuss that later. Any questions?
Thank you very much. All right, and now we'll move on to tourism and festivals coming out of our Celebration of Lights season.
All right. Well, good evening, everyone. It's good to see you all again, and you're exactly right. We are coming out of our Celebration of Lights season, got everything pretty much tied up with that, and already starting to figure out our light order for this year coming up. So I just wanted to touch base on kind of a summary of where we stood for the season. So total revenue, this does not include any sort of expenses at this time. This is strictly just the tickets, whereas $291,760. So we sold a total of 25,572 tickets. That does include our old-fashioned holiday stroll. So we did sell out 2 of the 3 nights, but the one night that wasn't sold out, we were not far off. So we are that close. So, and I believe you all have this report at your seat as it is. As you can see, there's a lot of different numbers and breaking things down into categories as to what tickets were scanned or what tickets were not scanned. But out of those 25,500 plus tickets, 22,728 of those tickets were scanned. So that still left over 2,800 tickets not scanned. Generally speaking, when we are selling tickets in advance for whatever the event may be, whether it's O'Fallon Theater Works or what have you, a trend that I see is usually about 7 to 10% of the tickets that are totally purchased go unscanned. So feel like that's kind of lining up. Just a little fun fact in case you need trivia for the city of O'Fallon. So we also offer specialty rides. We have train rides, which is two little car units pulled by what looks like a train, but what's underneath it is really a tractor. But people absolutely love it. It is limited as to the number of times that it can be used because we do need to make sure that there is no traffic. So there are certain nights that we do this where there is no vehicle traffic, and that's held on 2 different Mondays. Those did sell out. Total revenue on that was $12.75. Our trolley we partner with as a third-party partnership. It's a bid process. That was a total of $14,486. That was our cut of it. And the sleigh hay rides, which run Monday through Thursday, outside of our stroll days, that came to a little over $7,800, and we brought in $18,750 in regards to sponsorship. So that kind of ties up everything with Celebration of Lights at this point. And like I said, we're in the process of starting looking at our light order for this year already. I'd be happy to answer any questions if there are any.
And then we had the best Christmas pageant ever, which I got to see. It was a great show. Looks like we did pretty well with that, especially it's only the second season we've done a Christmas show, right?
Correct. And Dana is going to touch on a little bit more of that during her cultural arts
Gotcha.
report. Yes.
All right. And speaking of, we'll be moving into our cultural arts report.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dana Degnan, if we have not met yet. So to go over the best Christmas pageant ever, the musical, we had total sales of $19,026 for this production. We do those productions for 2 weekends. That is a Friday, Saturday, Sunday show for each weekend. We sold 359 general admission tickets, as well as 386 senior 55 plus tickets. We also sold 217 junior tickets. That's those who are between the ages of 3 and 15. I also noticed that we had quite a few same-day tickets. So we have a designation for tickets that are bought in advance and then tickets that are bought on the same day as the show. And that was very interesting to see as my first full run of the show here at O'Fallon, was that people actually do buy same-day tickets. So that was just an interesting thing for me. We also had 8 judge comps, which means that we had 8 judges from Arts for Life come and watch the best Christmas pageant ever. Arts for Life St. Louis is a nonprofit organization that celebrates community and youth theater. I believe we have been submitted for the Best Performance Awards for this production by our director. So fingers crossed that we hear back on nominations very soon. Moving on to our art galleries, you may have noticed the art is different coming in when you came in today through City Hall. We have 2 artists that are on display at our 3 different galleries. We have Jeff Bonnert with photography at City Hall and at Krekel Civic Center, and we have Dr. Linda O'Haron at the Renaud Center. Jeff Bonnert is a multidisciplinary photographer from the Edwardsville, Illinois area. Jeff is an expert in family, portrait, lifestyle, and event photography. However, his outdoor and environmental work really truly shines, and you will see that on display here at City Hall and Krekel Civic Center. Jeff perfectly captures the beauty of our nation's national parks and the wildlife that call these parks home. Jeff also shares photos from his international travels documenting the beauty of our natural world. Jeff's exhibit titled Quiet Rebellion is on display now until the end of April in City Hall and in Krekel Civic Center. Special shout out to Jeff. I had 2 other artists lined up in Krekel Civic Center that weren't able to complete the exhibit for whatever reason. And Jeff stepped up and said, I'll go in there as well. So thank you, Jeff. Dr. Linda O'Haron is on display at Renaud Center. She is an acrylic and resin artist from the Wentzville area. She focuses on acrylic pour art using multiple techniques such as Dutch pours and dirty pours to create pieces that reflect the dichotomy of control and spontaneity. She invites viewers to pause, smile, and rediscover the wonder of imagination. Linda's exhibit, Sweetheart's Dream, is on display now until the end of April at the Renaud Center. Every time I go and install a new exhibit somewhere in the city, I am the most popular person that day. I get to talk to all of our residents and citizens and tell them about the cool art that I'm putting up and all about the artists and just see their excitement and joy kind of like in action. So you get to see the fruits of your labor right there, which is pretty cool. It brings people a lot of joy to walk in on a very cold day and see really bright, nice acrylic pour art in the Renaud Center and our beautiful photography here. So big shouts out to these artists. Lastly, I'll just touch on Shape of Community very quickly because we will cover it later, but we did have 65 total submissions this year for Shape of Community, and that call ended back on January 21st. I'm very excited to present all of those sculptures to you today. Were there any questions about anything that I covered?
Are we going to have any openings or closings for the art galleries?
Like a
little
reception
or something?
Yes, I haven't gotten that coordinated with our artists yet, but as soon as that's coordinated, it will be all over our socials with communications and with Kristen and all that. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Awesome.
I was wondering what that looks like for artists to be accepted into the City Hall, Krekel, and the Renaud Center.
Yeah, I usually just ask that they email me with their interest, like an artist statement or in addition to like any pictures of their pieces if they would like. We also can have a meeting. Really, it's just about contacting me. There's no application or anything like that. You contact me or I get a recommendation for you, and then I would just contact you from there.
Okay, is there any push or I guess something that could be where it is sort of like a review process or like an application process?
I think that we could definitely get to that point. Yeah.
Because I just have a lot of artists, so I feel like if this is something that like I kind of have a way to push out to people in like an application process,
Sure.
it would be pretty cool.
Yeah, that's definitely something we can explore, is putting like an application or a interest form kind of on our website. That would be a really good idea.
And then additionally, the Shape of Community, what
Sure.
is that?
So- Yeah, so Shape of Community is our rotating sculpture series where sculptures are on display for around 18 months, correct, Jennifer? Thank you. So artists are to submit through the call for entry on Cafe online their applications for the outdoor sculptures. You're allowed to submit up to 3 sculptures per cycle. We ask that all of the CAC members log in before the meeting and vote on those sculptures for their interest of what they would like to see here in the city.
So yeah, I just found out about that. I like didn't vote on that, and so I just didn't. I'm just new here, so I'm just asking questions.
Yeah, no, all good, all good. I think I had sent that out, I think yesterday. Yes, yeah.
Probably why I didn't see it because I'm all over the place.
Okay,
My bad.
all good.
I think that's all I had. Questions. Oh, you said something about same day tickets. How did you get a gauge of how many people came
Yeah.
for the same day?
So on our same day tickets for general admission, we had 122. For our seniors on same day event day, we had 74, and for juniors, we had 70.
That's what I was wondering.
Awesome. Talk to you later.
All right, thank you very much, Dana. Moving on to old business, we'll talk about the theater renovation update.
So the master plan, which has been completed and reviewed, has been put into routing as far as the different levels that need to go through the approval process, sitting down and getting an idea where we are with the budget. And right now, it is more at an engineering and construction type of level than something that I would be doing. And so now it is going to be going to city council, and Chris Clerks is our engineering professional, for lack of a better way of saying this, engineering management. And he is the one who is going to be presenting the information to council for review and going over the plans themselves and the budget process of that. Once we know more from what the results are from city council, then we would be able to start moving forward with the next steps. So unfortunately, I don't have a whole lot to say today, but it is moving forward at this point. I mean, we are getting to each step. Each step is just a little slow of going through the process, but we have been able to get through the hard part, which was the design of it and coming up with the concept. And now it's going out for pricing. And that's where it's going to, you know, come across as to how that fits within the budget and how that also is taken under review for city council. So it's a good thing that the design is done.
Hey,
Okay.
Jennifer. I was hoping, we talked about this just one time. I was hoping maybe my company could bid on some of that fabrication work.
So I would recommend getting into, well, if you would like to email me, I will pass that information over to Chris Clerks to see how that process is handled. That is something that he does. So I don't want to misspeak on anything.
All right, looking forward to hearing more about that as it moves forward. Anybody else have any questions about the theater renovation? All right, so we'll talk more about O'Fallon Theater Works year-end report. If there's anything, I know we spoke about the best Christmas
Yeah.
pageant ever.
So I can go ahead and touch on that if you'd like. I already have it brought up, so you're welcome. So we did have a wonderful year this year. We had a total ticket sales of 3,557 tickets sold, and a total of $8,979.11 was made as revenue. So that was also including any sort of ticketing fees taken out of that. And it also includes the concession sales and then the grant that we apply for each year. So that was the total funding that came in. To give you an idea, back in actually 2024, we are at $78,809. So we did exceed that by a couple $1,000. So that was a nice view to see some things pop up and continue to grow, which is exactly what we're looking for. And we probably sold about 250 more tickets this past year as well. So
That's great.
it's nice to see an upward trend.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then once folks start getting into the new theater, hopefully it goes even higher. All right. Well, that actually moves well into our new business. I see something here called musical review, and I wonder if that has something to do with other theater plans while we're working on renovations.
While they're getting set up, I just wanted to let you know that the awards for TMA and BPA, they were supposed to be announced, the nominees were supposed to be announced a couple weeks ago, but that got canceled due to weather, so those will come out on February 13th.
I remember you've had some history with that group, right?
I'm a judge.
Oh, you're still a judge. I knew you had done some judging. I didn't know that you were still one. Unfortunately, you don't judge our shows, do you?
Just a moment.
Oh, all good.
Mhm.
So we had a total of, what did we say, 68, 65 total entries?
65 total entries.
65 total
I was
entries.
going to talk about the musical review.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
If you're done
I
with that, you
just-
can eject it and I'll put it in. There we go.
all right. So the musical review, thank you for your patience. Apologies for that. The musical review, we are going to put on a musical review that we are titling OTW in Concert Celebrating Freedom to tie in with the America 250 theme that we have going this year. This is set to take the stage on April 10, 11, and 12. We are having auditions on February 15th and 17th. Our director is Heather Myers, and this will be her directorial debut with OTW. We selected the name OTW in Concert Celebrating Freedom for this review for two reasons. One, a musical review is not a widely known term. A musical review is when you take a bunch of different songs from different shows and put them all together, and they usually have some sort of overarching theme. So calling it a concert lowers the barrier of entry for the public because a musical review, I don't know what that is. Sounds weird. But a concert, I've been to one of those before. Secondly, if we choose to do more original musical reviews, concerts, cabarets in the future, etc., we would want to have a recognizable name for programming and marketing purposes. So hearing OTW in concert, an evening with Sondheim, that makes you think, oh yeah, I saw that Celebrating Freedom one before. I have an understanding of what that's going to be. So we are doing essentially a musical review that's all about patriotism and the spirit of just the American spirit, essentially. We are going to have an official selection of songs once we have an idea of what our cast looks like. So after auditions, and then from there we will have an official set list and then go from there. But that was kind of our creative solution to having a show this early in this first half of the year with OTW.
And where will that show be?
That will take place upstairs in the
Upstairs,
theater.
okay.
So that will actually serve as our last production before renovations.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, yes. Any
That's
other?
certainly interesting.
Yes.
I'd have to see about auditioning for that. I don't know.
I think it's going to be fun because it's as far as putting it together, it's less acting and memorization of lines and a lot more memorization of music, which a lot of the times is easier for people. So the turnaround can be a lot quicker than doing like a full-blown production with lots of acting and all of the speaking and things. We will have some poetry readings, however, in the musical review as well, that we are looking at doing. So that kind of reflect the American spirit, New Colossus, things kind of in that realm.
Wow.
Yeah.
And did you already, I'm sorry if I missed it, but did you already mention when auditions will?
Auditions
up?
are February 15th and 17th. So that's a Sunday and a
That's coming up.
Tuesday, because Monday we are closed. So we will not be in City Hall that day. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
All right,
It's
thank you very
exciting.
much. Yeah, that sounds exciting.
Thank you. All right, that was everything for the musical review. I'm now going to go over our Shape of Community entries for 2026. This is the first time anyone's seen them besides me and Jennifer, really, so I'm very excited to show these. For your reference, is it touchscreen?
Are we going to get information out on the Facebook page about the auditions?
Yes, Kristen has all of that, and she's working with communications
Okay,
on
great.
getting that out as soon as possible. Yeah. So I'll just go over quickly the purpose of Shape of Community. The Shape of Community is a citywide temporary sculpture exhibition featuring large-scale works of art in prominent areas throughout the city, loaned by artists for an 18 to 22-month period. This exhibition is unique to the entire St. Louis metropolitan area and attracts people to visit sculpture sites throughout the city. CAC members have already voted on the sculptures on a yes, no, maybe scale. We will review all entries that received a yes vote by a CAC member. We will have a section that is all yes, majority yes votes, and then a section that is majority maybe votes. And then I have the statistics on who all has voted there as well. So these are our majority yes votes. We have Incohate by Luke Achterberg with majority yes. I don't know how long would you like to stay? Good. And then also by Luke, we have Cruiser. He had a couple maybes, but majority yes. We have Flower Arms by Stephen Baduo. A few maybes, majority yes. We have Elegant Lady or Solace. Now, Reno Carollo, he seemed to have put in multiple sculptures in one submission. These were the two that I felt would serve the city best. That can be discussed if we would like, if anyone had strong feelings about either of these pieces. But his majority voting was yes. This is Impala. Impala really reminds me of Spike over by Alligators Creek, if you're familiar with Spike over there. This is by Vanny Channel. We have Yes Ma'am by Scott Diven. I'd love to ask him his reason for naming, and I love the horse form. Leaving the Nest by Taylor Fawcett. Digitize by Taylor Fawcett. Fun, big hand. River Siren by Kristen Garnant. Nidum by John Camereth. Majority yes, but some maybes there. Same with, apologies. The title was not included with this one. Yes, but this is also by John, and he had a majority yes with a few maybes. This is, oh my goodness. Pardon me, I'm going to find these names. Yes. All right. Our paperclip friend here is Handcuff Key. And the previous sculpture is named Twist. So that would be this guy here. Here we have The Great Escape by Joe Molesky. He was a Yes, Mamie Divide. We also have Angles, Shadows Reaching by Bill McGrath. This was an overwhelming yes. As well as this piece. This is Wind Wave. This was also an overwhelming yes. Sapirs by Alexander Mendez. Balanced Energy. This was a mock-up design that Jeff Moore had submit, so he would build this for this exhibit. You might be familiar with Frederick Napoli's work. He's currently on display in one of our roundabouts. We recently moved his piece, Learning Curve, to a roundabout in South O'Fallon. So this is kind of a sister piece to that piece called Learning to Fly. This is another Fred Napoli design. Now, this is a mock-up, so this would be a miniature that he made. He would make the full version for Shape of Community. This is Mother and Daughter 2. Peek, make sure you do take notice of the mirror in the mother's face. We also have Heartfelt by Frederick Napoli. So all three of his submissions, he submit 3, and all 3 were considered. This is 836 by Ben Pierce. Kevin, I appreciated your comments on voting because you were always looking for an O. This is one of those O's that we had. Another O, we had Propensity by Ben Pierce. The Feather 3, Kirk Cease. One of our judges today did mention these are quite lightweight. And so we could have some concerns about wind, weather, that kind of deal, but we could always talk with the artist about what we can do to prevent that. Tree Branches, also by Kirk Cease. Misery Justorum by Bill Henry Walker. Circumzoidial V by Bill Henry Walker. Winged Figure by Vernon Willits. Action Reaction by Chris Wabena. Liberté by Chris Wabena. Suddenly by Chris Wabena, another artist with all 3 in the yeses. So those were our yeses. I'll go on now to our maybes. Did anyone have any questions or anything to say about the yeses? Perfect.
How long before they have all the voting in?
So we also will vote with OCVB, correct? And then after the voting with those will go to City Council to also vote for approval.
So can our members who missed the window initially before this meeting, will they have a chance to vote? Since we have another group voting?
Yeah, so ideally, we would like to figure out a rundown of what we're narrowing, filtering things down, because we go from a yes, no, maybe, and then based on what we have in front of us, we really need to start looking at narrowing down to like the 10 or 15 sculptures, and then go ahead and present that to the OCVB for review. And then ultimately we end up taking that to council for review as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just know that I almost missed it yesterday as well.
Mhm.
and like a 1-day window is it's a tight turnaround for some folks.
Right. Right.
So it'd be nice if everybody got a chance to get that vote in.
Right. Well, based on what we have here this evening, we can start taking, because there is a pretty large selection of
Mhm.
in the yeses. There was quite a few that were accepted. And the maybes, those can also be viewed as an alternate. So if, we made the comment that this particular piece may be a little light. So, yes, we love that, but we also have to take into consideration of what we're looking at and how it fits into the space. Um, if there's certain pieces that have very jagged edges, we probably want to move away from something like that or something that looks like it can be easily climbed. And then we start taking into consideration, where would we be placing those? So that's why we like to have those alternates and getting,
Mhm.
10, but add in maybe 5 more. And then that gives us an opportunity, since we're familiar with the parks and the locations and what's there, where that best fit would end up being. Something else to think about when looking at these is we do have a plinth that is over at Sports Park. So we want to make sure that we're getting something to go ahead and put upon that plinth. With, I believe, what I looked at today, there were some options
Mhm.
for that. Other things to consider is also the scale of the pieces. It is in an open space. So therefore, something that's only 4 or 5 feet tall can easily get lost in the great outdoors. I'm probably standing at with shoes. I'm probably standing at like 5, 8.5 right now. And some of the submissions were 4 feet.
Yeah.
So when you put that outside, especially in a park, we want these pieces to be noticed. So that's just something else, that we need to make sure that we're taking into consideration. So what we'll do is we will go ahead and go through the maybes, and then we can take this and then take a look to see what 15 that would be the recommendation and go from there tonight.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah, and I'm very cognizant of the fact that like we want to get these in the spring summer like
Right.
arena. So I know that we have our timeline and
Correct.
gotta keep
So
things
our
moving.
de-installation will start taking place in March, as far as starting to make those arrangements and getting things done. And when you're coordinating 10 different people who are coming from all different parts of the state or even potentially out of the state, I can't remember from 18 months ago, but and then coordinating this with the Parks Department, because they are a very big hand of support for us, and their special construction team has helped us out in the past with this. So it takes some time to make sure everything gets moved out appropriately, and then the goal is to get everything installed ready to go by June 1. So there is a little bit of a window, but we truly do use that entire window to coordinate the exit and the install. So
So does that timeline eliminate some of the entries that were just conceptual sketches that haven't been actually built yet?
like mother and daughter too.
yeah. So this is the very first time that we have had the conceptual submissions. That is something for a topic of discussion, whether or not that is something that we would want to accept or not accept. Um, you know, Conceptual drawings is one thing, and then reality is another. Did you have something, Dana?
I have seen metal like fabrication like Frederick's or one of the other ones that was submit before. I've seen those take only up to like a month or less to make. It kind of depends on the artist and the shop and what they have. But I have seen those take a month or less to be
Okay.
made. It just kind of depends.
So I have a question. What email should I be looking for with this voting? Because I
Did you
okay.
get the reminder email from Mariah?
I'm looking back and I'm one of the people that did not vote. So I would have voted and I'm just looking at my email and I can't seem to find it. So I don't know. But I do agree with Kevin saying that like if I had more of a notice on voting, then I would have taken that super seriously. And I just didn't know that there was such a heavy deadline with things. And I also would say that with there being multiple locations and multiple park locations, maybe having it more trickled down to these 5 are an option for this location and this, these over here are going to be only for this location. So then we can kind of also get an idea of the size and where it's going to be at as people in O'Fallon. I know I'm familiar with some of these parks, so maybe just a visual mock-up per se as well, because it is hard for me to visualize some of these and where we would be placing them at. So with that voting, is there a possibility to include where the city is planning or thinking about if there's multiple locations available, then having that kind of also given to us as knowledge? Because if we're voting on something, then I kind of want to know what I'm voting on,
So, for this evening, what we want to do is narrow down the 65 selections. And then from those selections, we can take what those findings are and present what we would believe would be the best locations for them. If one of those ideas that were a definite yes isn't really fitting in any of the locations of the park, or it's requiring an extra pour of the pad or something like that. So we can take this evening, put that together, and then go ahead and send that back out to you with the recommendations of where we were going to be going with that, with alternatives to be able to go from there. Okay?
Yes.
We'll look at our maybes and have a curated list after this.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. So we'll see our maybes. We have Constellation by Vernon Willits. After the Ball by Josh Urso. Glowing Glade by Marcus Weinfurter. So this would have electric and a light in the inside. Same with this piece, Dancing Feet by Marcus Weinfurter. This one seems to be smaller in the picture, so we would have to talk with him. Yeah. Very short. Thank you. This is Pollinator by Kirk Cease. We saw some of his work previously in the yeses. Released by Ryan Peterson. Basics by Matthias Newman. This was another where he sent in examples of previous installations at other parks that he's done with some mock-ups that he would then build. I did have some comments about like wear and tear to this sculpture, and in the artist's statement for this sculpture, the wear and tear is actually part, he considers it part of the art and he wants it to be worn. So I think some wear is kind of desired, at least by the artist. So we'll keep that in mind. Jose's work. I included this work because I do find it very interesting. However, I'm not sure the work is just the paper. There is no frame it comes with or anything like that. We did get quite a few maybes on this piece, but I want everyone to be aware that this is paper and it is not in a frame. It is not protected. We would need to figure something else out with this in the event that we did choose it. The big one that got away also reminds me of a sculpture that we saw in the Yes pile. This is by Joe Molesky. Hydraulic Jump 3. Planet Junior USA by Adam Gary. Point by Bill McGrath. Teeter by Adam Gary. Totem by Taylor Fawcett. One moment as I find the name of this piece.
Is that one 32 cones?
This is 32 cones. Yes, thank you. Wing 1 by Matthew Duffy. This is Sunrise Sunset by Matthew Duffy. Wing 2 by Matthew Duffy. Delicate World by Vanny Channel.
Is that one Full Sail 6?
Yes, it is. Thank you. This is Scalar by Luke Achterberg. Dream by Jessica Bell. We had some concerns about the cloth pillows on this piece. Rest and Growth. This piece can be sat on, so it is interactive. And that is all of our maybes. Okay. So from here, we need to select 15 pieces to recommend to City Council. So
Is there any that you would like to do for consideration in the maybe section? And just as a reminder, where we end up placing these sculptures is one is out here in front of City Hall. Traditionally, what we've done in the past, it doesn't mean we have to, is something representational of O for O'Fallon.
Mm-hmm.
We've been able to do that a couple of times now. We have Civic Park. That one is located along the sidewalk, in between the sidewalk and the parking lot as you pull into the Krekel Civic Center. So people are passing it on Civic Park Drive as they're coming and going, and then also those who are visiting into the Krekel Civic Center. Fort Zumwalt Park, that is located directly across from the Heald Home. And then Dames Park is located by the upper level concession stand, kind of where the maintenance or the facility shed is, to try to give you a better idea of that. Then there is Carshield Field, and that is right in the open concrete, like tarmac area, as people would be entering into the stadium itself. Then we would get into Sports Park. I will say that at Sports Park, that is very heavily traveled. We have had quite a bit of like hands-on any type of piece that goes there because there's so many games and kids are running around. There's a lot happening in that
That's
area.
the Ozzie Smith area.
That is the Aussie
Yeah,
one at
That's
Sports
a good
Park.
place for something like Rest and Growth, which is interactive.
Exactly. So that's just something to think about. And as we're going through these tonight, we can give suggestions and recommendations on where we think they would be a good location for. So that's why I'm kind of running down those locations before we go back and start looking at everything again. From Sports Park, I'm sorry, that would have been Ozzy. I misspoke. Thank you, Kevin. You caught me. From Ozzy, then we would go down to Sports Park. That's located over by the playground, and that is the one that is on a plinth. And then we have O'Day, and that is up as you're driving towards the O'Day Lodge, just before you're about ready to cross over towards the parking lot area. It greets you right on the left-hand side as you're entering into that area. So, where else am I missing? Sports
Westoff.
O'Day, Westoff, thank
That's by
you.
Children's Playground.
Yes, and that is by so that's by Brendan's playground, so that one also gets a lot of hands
Mhm.
on things, but things that are usually, like, really bright and vibrant just because it totally ties into that area of youth. And then thank you, Renaud Center. And that is up on the sidewalk, yeah, a little bit closer to the building. So as you are, coming up out of the car, walking up onto the sidewalk, it's within the landscape area there as you're entering the building. So that would be the next one.
So there's 8 total.
There should be 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes. So City Hall, Civic Park, Zumwalt, Dames, Car Shield, Ozzy, Sports, O'Day, Westoff, and Renaud. So, and I'd be happy to kind of take some notes as we're kind of going through some of these and talking about them. And I have my mine up as well to review any dimensions and questions about that, and Dana's got it as well. So those are just some things to kind of keep in mind as we're going through things and making sure, generally speaking, I want to say the pads are not any bigger than like a 10 by 10.
Okay.
So a foundation is definitely something that we need to take into consideration versus adding or something that is going to be hanging over the pad. Yes, it could physically be bolted in a 10 by 10 space, but if it has a wingspan on the lower part of it that is going to go over that, what we need to think about is how does that affect parks when it comes to them mowing and having to edge around things because of potential of bumping into it or what have you. And so we definitely want to be able to avoid those types of things.
Yeah, I think like immediately I think of if we have any that would go over the 10 by 10, I would think of something like Fort Zumwalt Park where it's concrete around it and not a lot of like vehicular traffic or even foot traffic. That's a great place for a bombastic, like really big piece.
Mhm. Yes.
Had our
Right.
penguin tail was
Because
there.
that is already, it's in a triangle of the roadway where it wise off to either continue straight going through the park or it wise off to go down towards one of our maintenance sheds. So that is irregular shaped and it is also a little bit bigger than the current pads that are already poured.
Yeah, and it's honestly my favorite place for a sculpture in town.
Yeah.
I've always liked the sculptures we end up putting there.
Yes. Okay, so was there any that we would like to go back through on the maybes?
There's one maybe that I really liked. I don't remember what it's called. Maybe Point or the Point. It's the one that's kind of like the mix of stones and metal.
That one?
Point. Yeah, the industrial and natural mixing.
I want to say that's the one.
That was my favorite from the maybe list. Something about the contrast of materials used here.
Right. Very natural looking. I want to say that one, oops, sorry,
250 pounds.
250 pounds and
72 inches.
yeah, so 72 inches by 18. So that's shorter.
Could be plinth worthy kind of thing.
Could be. Yeah.
I really liked the big circle, half circle.
Sunrise, sunset.
Yeah.
I voted yes on that one.
I think
What's 6 feet?
72 inches.
Okay.
I like, the stained.
So the exclamation is 6 feet.
What was the one, Ella? I'm sorry. What was that one, Ella? I'm sorry.
It was like a half circle, kind of looks like a bolt.
Like a gear?
I think it's the sunrise, sunset.
Yes.
I also really like the little glowing, those lanterns are pretty cool.
I like those too.
Sorry, I didn't get a chance to vote, so this is my first time seeing these. But I really like this one. I think that would look really cool. Maybe like but that's just my opinion. I think that's really cool, and it's big, so it would like you could see it driving to and from.
Yeah, that was, I liked that one for City Hall. And I also liked the one that ended up in the yes column. Let's see, where was that? Trying to scroll through it here.
Some of these are.
Yeah, those glowing lanterns are really cool. And then in the yes column, I did love the stained glass. We had a couple in there that had different stained glasses, and I thought that was amazing. So, highly yes on those. Sorry, I keep forgetting about this microphone. I hope my voice is.
Can you tell me what the dimensions are of that one?
Of glowing glade. Glowing glade.
Hey, Jennifer, would it be possible? Just a thought. Would it be possible to open this back up and let them, I mean, right now you've got 5 people that basically voted. So, and let all of them vote again. Now that we know that the criteria is to look at the size of it, we know the locations. I don't know, is there a place to put comments?
Yes.
And then maybe give like till like Friday. And so let everybody go through and vote, put their comments where they think it would be best, open it up to the OCVB, you get more people in there, then come back and just send an email. Here's our top 15. What comments do you have?
I think that sounds
Sounds
like a
like
great
Motion
idea.
seconded.
I was going to say, it sounds
Thank you,
like
Kelly.
we were already going to kind of maybe get the yeses and maybes. Like maybe we winnowed down all the like overtly no's, and then maybe we could do that with the yeses and maybes, or we could do it with the whole list. It's whatever you think would be the most efficient.
You only have 5 people that voted so far though.
Yeah.
So all the no's would have been eliminated by 5 people.
Okay.
I think this, like I said, it was short notice. Yeah. So I think if you open it back up and now we know the criteria.
Just from a financial perspective, look at they had values on them. And I know some of them, the values were kind of on the lower side. I don't know, what do we pay, 4,000 or 5,000 to lease these for 18 to 20 months?
Or
If the value of it is less than that or that, would we want to purchase it instead of leasing it? I mean, then it would be ours. I noticed that on a couple of them. So I was just like,
most of
well, if they like this one, why wouldn't we just buy it? That's what through my financial head. So
So it's 4,000 is our total budget for these?
No,
that's
that is
per.
I guess the stipend that we pay for those that we end up accepting to be on loan for those 18 to 22 months that we have them here. Yes.
Or rental fee, if you will.
Also, glowing glade is 5 feet tall.
One more thing. Sorry. How many do we have that have power to them?
From what it looked like, only these 2 that were like lanterns.
I think the
There was
lady lit
another
up
artist
too.
that
Was there
mentioned,
one more?
specifically mentioned LED a number of times in his.
So is there certain locations that have power?
That was gonna
Already
be my
there.
next question. Yeah,
Okay.
that we were already set up for.
All right. Yeah, I don't believe we have power actually set up at any of
Okay.
these pads. Yes.
Probably would be a recommendation for the artist to do LED instead.
Well,
Or
some
like a solar panel of some sort. I didn't mean to say LED, but like solar panel powered. If it is lit up in any sort of way, it could just be charged from the sun.
I'm pretty sure it's interesting you mentioned the LED. The person who mentioned that, I think they also mentioned that they were solar powered. I don't know about this one though. But yeah, that's a good comment by
Did you want
Kelly
to go
about-
ahead and make a motion to do that, to go ahead and extend that voting until Friday and go through that with comments based on the
Absolutely.
criteria? Does that sound
And if we could maybe,
like a good plan?
some of us know the list of the locations by heart, but if we could maybe get a list of locations, that would be great too. But I,
Also with the locations, like kind of where it, like maybe like a visual or like a LED, like.
Yeah,
'cause
so
when
we'll
you
do a
did
pin drop.
explain-
We'll do a pin drop where they
Okay.
are on a map as far as like an aerial, like Google Earth type snapshot, and do a pin drop to show you the location of where that is.
and we still have
Yeah.
AutoCast going, don't we?
We do.
Yeah, that's that app that shows where everything is.
Also another question, again, just new here, don't really know, but is this open like voting? Is that a silly question? Is this voting to the public or is this voting just for like this commission? And is there other commissions that are voting on this?
So you all are the ones who are doing the voting through Cafe. Nobody else has access to Cafe. From there, we will take what your recommendations are and then show them to the OCVB. They are the funding commission that is paying the stipends for the art that we are bringing into O'Fallon. And then from there, we will then move on to city council. And I have seen it happen where when it is presented to city council, we have had to make some changes. And that's why it's very important to make sure that we have some alternatives. And for safety's sake, I think 5 additional alternatives would be ideal, because we also have to take into consideration when we go back to speak to the artists. I have had them sold. And so we would then have to go on again. So that happened to a little bit of Peace last year, and we wanted a little bit of Peace too. So that was a fan favorite.
All right, yeah, I will go ahead and make that motion that we extend the voting through this coming, or I guess tomorrow, right? Or today's Wednesday, yeah. I'm wishing this week away, I promise. But yes, through Friday, we'll extend the voting for the rest of the commission to get their votes in.
Motion seconded.
All right, and I assume everyone's in favor? Yep. All right, motion passes. All right, do we feel like we need to go through the list as they're laid out right now anymore? Does anyone have any further questions, or revisit it once we do the remaining voting. Okay. Thank you all very much for putting this together. It's a lot of entries.
Thank you.
All right, and that leads us to any other items that may arise. Does anyone have anything they want to bring up in the new year to talk about? Anything that we have missed?
I was just wondering what the fall into the arts, like what that looks like year round, and if there is anything year round, or if it's just something we talk about when it's happening.
So Fall Under the Arts usually starts pretty soon. I know that it's historically been nearly an entire year conversation.
Right. And so I remember last when Jenna was here, we were talking about possibly making it a year-round conversation and having it be something that's discussed to make it a bigger event, almost like a Main Street, type of event where there's vendors on coming and going. So I just didn't know if that was something that we could maybe add to next meeting's agenda. Or I don't know who to talk to. I'm sorry. I'm just over here. I'm just saying ideas.
So are you visualizing something different than O'Day Park, or are you?
No, I think that it
Or like a
has
weekend
potential to
long?
be like a weekend long. I think it has potential to be way bigger than what it is. And have
Yeah,
more artists, more vendors, more food trucks, more availability to that local artist type of scene. Again, I have a lot of connections from here to Kansas City to Colorado. And then I envision O'Fallon being that. So that's just where I get at, is if we could maybe have it be a year-round conversation, because I think that there's so much potential and there's so many artists in the city that don't know about it, that don't know about the event, that don't know about the festivals that we throw, whether it's the Railroad District Festival or the O'Day Park one. I do get them confused. I have dyslexia. I'm so sorry. But yeah, that's just where I get at. I want it to be something that's kind of bigger. I see it have that potential.
I know that we have spoken about it being a weekend-long event before, in years past, and it's kind of one of those things where it's still growing. It's a newer festival in the grand scheme of things, and I know, like, this year, I don't know how much growth we saw this last year, but we have definitely talked about making it a weekend-long event before. I just don't know if we've gotten to the point where we're kind of pulling that trigger or not. I don't know if you want to speak to that, Jennifer.
Yeah, that actually has been a topic of conversation for a few years now. And looking at bringing this into a 2-day event, or potentially like a Friday evening going into a Saturday. So we've tossed around a lot of different options. We're approaching the application process a little differently this year. So that way we can start securing artists sooner versus later. So unfortunately, we've been short-staffed trying to take on all of this. Dana joined us in September of last year, which was maybe 2 weeks or a week before Fall Into the Arts actually happened. So, we did go back and look to see what sort of changes can we make to be able to secure our artists sooner and get that information going sooner, so on and so forth. So we do have an action plan on how to start approaching that, but this year is budgeted for just for 1 day. But we do have ideas on what we would do if it would be 2 days, but we're just not there yet.
Oh, quick question. So why is it on a Sunday? Why did we pick a Sunday?
There are other, we do find a lot of times when it is September and you've got a Saturday going, the number of parents who are taking children all over the place to sporting areas, it allows us for setup if the facility was in use prior. So, because that is also a facility that hosts other events inside or uses the space of the amphitheater venue as well.
Yeah, and Saturday night's a big wedding night too, especially in the fall.
Correct.
I
So-
do, I do agree with that question though, and I would honestly like to possibly move it to, if it's in the calendar, to maybe, because it is so far away, if it is just going to be on one day, to possibly have it be Saturday. I don't know what that looks like, but that would make so much more of a gathering. It would bring more artists to you guys, and it would make it to be, the artists would want to be there because it would be a weekend. A lot of the times Sundays, I would say, are my family day, are the day that I'm with my family. I don't obviously have kids, so I don't know what it's like, but that's just where I think is Sunday's more of a church day, more of a family day, and that is, in my experience, the day that artists are wanting to pack up and go home and get ready for their week. And I've done a lot of conventions, a lot of weekend events, and the Friday and the Saturday are where the public will go and spend the money on the local artists.
It is an interesting conversation because, especially in the fall, Saturdays are a very, like, there's a lot of competition with festivals in the fall. And I think that might have gone into our decision, or not ours. I don't think we discussed the day of the week, but that went into a lot of the discussion too, is like Sundays we're dealing with less competition. So that's part of the reason too. So it is an interesting conversation to have, like the pros and cons of it.
Yeah, or we could beat the competition. So
Yeah, I mean, that's,
how I look at it. And you could make, I go to festivals, I go to festivals every single weekend, and from, I would say, August to October, November, I'm every single weekend in St. Charles or in Lake St. Louis, and why not O'Fallon? So that's just where I get at. You could have a really awesome festival with local artists, food trucks, all the things, and it be our festival that we put our money into. So just my thoughts. Sorry. I'll shut
no
up.
need to apologize. Love to hear the ideas, especially from someone who actually goes to, I mean, I go to some festivals, but probably not anywhere near as many as you do.
I have big ideas, and I just see our city, the potential for it. I understand the budget of one day, but maybe budgeting that into a weekend day would bring more artists. It would bring more of an attraction. I also think with getting retention, deposits are huge for artists. If they know they're going to get something in return, they'll show up. But if there's a deposit amount that the city puts on it, whether it's $100 for your booth or not, that will kind of put some skin in the game for a artist to actually work the weekend or work the event.
That's part of our discussion that we're working through. Yes.
I'm sorry.
No. I'm saying it's a great idea, and we, part of our action plan that we were talking about did include that very statement of, putting some skin in the game. We're talking about timing and how that falls in the calendar and all of that. So each time you put on an event, you learn something from it every single year. Even Heritage and Freedom Fest, doesn't matter that it's been going on for a bajillion years. We will still learn something, and what worked one year doesn't mean it's going to work the next. It is crazy how that happens, but it definitely happens.
And I've seen, as a resident here for 20 years, I've seen that festival get bigger and bigger every year, and that's amazing and awesome. And that's the potential that I want the Fall into the Arts to have. I want it to be a year-round discussion, something that you're thinking about. As soon as it ends, you're thinking about the next year, and that's just my artist brain. I get excited about stuff like that.
Yeah, I think we were seeing we had a couple of years before COVID where we did Fall into the Arts, and it was growing rather quickly at that time, and then COVID hit it hard. And we've been in a growth pattern ever since then.
Yeah, understandable. Thank you for the info. Sorry if it was, Cool.
All right. Anybody else have anything else they want to add to the discussion this evening? All right. Hearing none, I would seek a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second, Doyle.
All in favor? Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you all very much.